First thing I wanted to ask you regarding the vaccines, if I could, is this expanded pool that got announced, I think yesterday, and for obvious reasons got a little bit lost in the news cycle. Can you just talk to us a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, so we know that our ability to eradicate COVID is contingent on us moving swiftly and trying to get as many shots in arms as we can. And that's what we're focused on. So we've been ramping up. Obviously, when we take possession of injections, they don't just, you can't just do it immediately. We have to ramp up. And so we've made great strides in that. But at the pace that we're going, it'll take almost a year to get the whole state vaccinated. And that's just unacceptable. And so that's why we are creating greater eligibility now. Anyone 65 and up, people that are essential workers, we want them to get their appointments made so that they can go in and get their shots. And it's also why we're also calling on the federal government to release the Pfizer vaccine that they're holding on to. They've got about 55 million Pfizer vaccines that have not been shipped. Many of them are in the freezer farm in Portage, Michigan. And we need to get those into people's arms. And so we're asking the feds to release those shots so that we can get more people inoculated and not have to draw this out longer, because it's more economic pain, it's more personal loss, and it's just crucial that we move quickly.
You mentioned that it is crucial that we move quickly, and I'm sure you know Michigan is one of the slower states in the country right now. Where are the breakdowns, both federally and at the state level, do you think that need to be addressed, and what can you do out of your office to speed that up, aside from what we just talked about, obviously?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to point out the CDC website is just wrong. It's not been updated. And so when people write headlines that we are in one of the worst, it's just not true.
Okay.
We were told by the CDC yesterday we're in the top 10. I'm not exactly sure where we rank because I don't trust their numbers. What I do trust is our local public health directors. I do trust our hospital systems. They are working fast. We have gotten a lot of vaccines in people's arms. The numbers increasing every day. The percentage is increasing dramatically every single day. So we've built up our organization. And I think when we finally do get good numbers, we'll see that Michigan's a leader in this space, as we have been throughout COVID-19.
Okay, and at that update, I'll check on that again. Apologize, there were things.
No, I mean, it is what it is. It's a
Yeah.
website with bad information, so it's unfortunate, but we're moving swiftly, and I think our teams are really working well. We're working with the Guard, we're working with our pharmacists. We're really, I think, at a great clip, but we need more vaccines, and we need to continue expanding what we're doing.
Okay, I've got a couple questions from my health reporter because she's a little bit more versed in all this than I am, and she wanted to know how soon are people going to actually be able to sign up? She says right now she's seeing only Ingham and the UP have vaccine appointments for Monday. Do you know how soon other clinics are going to be available in the state, in particular West Michigan?
Well, I'm hopeful that people will have the ability to sign up by this weekend. However, Monday really is the day when it should start opening up. So we want people to sign up. One of the, I think, great tragedies in this moment is what we see playing out in the state of Florida, where people are just showing up and waiting in line. We can't have that because of our weather, first and foremost, but we also can't afford to let that happen. We're in the midst of a global pandemic. We have the technology. Let's make sure people sign up for appointments and keep those appointments so we can maximize the number of shots that we get in arms.
Okay, next question. My mother up in the UP actually asked this one of me. How are people going to be notified that a vaccine is available for them? Is it on them to check to make sure they qualify? Are you going to be relying on working through us in the media? And will they have to bring in some sort of a notification or proof that they are in a current round of eligible vaccine recipients?
I love that question. It's a great question. So certainly it is on the state website, DHHS, but also local departments of public health. We'll be working with the media to keep people informed when they are. Anyone who's 65 and up is eligible at this juncture. People who are in essential services, our teachers, our childcare, in addition to all the groups that were already getting vaccinated, are as well. We will not be, we don't have the vaccination police. We want to prioritize based on how many people are vulnerable or have contacts with the public or are in essential services. Makes sense, right? Because this is who we all rely on. However, we want numbers. We want more people to get vaccinated. And so that's why we are broadening it at this juncture. And we believe this opens it up to a lot more people. And we're hopeful that people do their part and get their shot.
Okay, one more vaccine question. Is the state going to be participating in any mobile app programs like Common Pass, IBM's Digital Health Pass for vaccine verification? Because she points out a lot of places nationwide, movie theaters, restaurants, airports, American Airlines, they're going to be using these apps to confirm people have been vaccinated so they can get into those businesses and use those services. Does the state have any plan to do something like that?
You know what? I unfortunately can't speak to that. I think that's a great question. It's one that we will refer to Dr. Khaldun, and if you want to follow up, we'll make sure that you've got accurate information.
Sure. Those are the questions she had. And again, she's a lot more versed on this. Is there anything else of import that you wanted to get out in these round of interviews that you're doing today?
Well, I just think it's important that people have their plan to get vaccinated and that they are following the DHHS website and that they are reaching out. If you live here in Ingham County, as an example, where I live, our public health department is right now running people through at a pretty quick clip. The CDC website would tell you they only have done 1,700 people. They will tell you that in reality, it's over 7,000 people. So we're moving quickly, but your local Department of Public Health is a good place to start to make sure that you know where to go and how to sign up to get your vaccine.
Yeah, you or Dr. Caldoon, dog.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I've got one myself. I'm a fan. This might be a Dr. Caldoon question. I know that Dr. Fauci has sort of been in the herd immunity number for vaccination rates has kind of changed from 70 to 80. Then I think he said 80 to 90. Is there a number that the state of Michigan that you guys are shooting for? Obviously, more the better, but is there a specific benchmark that you're trying to hit in the next several months?
I mean, our goal is to have 70% of our population inoculated at the quickest possible pace. So that's what we are shooting for. I can tell you that at the current clip that we're receiving vaccines, it'll take over a year to get there. And that's why it's not good enough. And that's why we're calling on the Trump administration to release these vaccines from the Pfizer freezer farm so that we can increase the number of people that are getting vaccinated on a day to day, week to week basis. I am confident that the Biden administration will prioritize that. But I just share that with you in terms of so people can really kind of have some perspective about we have 10 million people in Michigan. We've vaccinated over 160,000. But think about the math of that. We've got a lot more to do.
Okay, last quick question on vaccine, then I have one inaugural question. Some areas in other countries are just opening up vaccines to whoever wants one. Come on in. Is there any thought of that in Michigan at all at this point?
So we have to follow the CDC guidelines
Right.
at the beginning here. There are some restrictions, and we know that, like Florida, it's really the most ethical thing to do is to ensure that we prioritize people who are uniquely vulnerable, people who are high likelihood of dying if they get the virus. People with very low likelihood of death are later in the priority process because of that. I mean, I think a lot of that makes sense. But certainly, if we had access to all the vaccines that we needed for all the people in Michigan, I would be eager to open it up even greater. But at this point in time, we're just limited in how much we have, and we've got to prioritize who's the most vulnerable.
Okay, one question on the inaugural. I know you're co-chair for the Biden-Harris inaugural. Is yesterday's attack on the Capitol, do you know, going to affect plans for the inauguration in any way, shape, or form?
Well, I have to imagine. I've not had a conversation with the committee since last night, but I know that they've always been working toward keeping people safe because we recognize we're in the midst of a global pandemic. I think the scenes from last night are concerning and certainly will factor into security. But our whole intent is to make this easy for people to participate from the safety of their home. We're still in the midst of a global pandemic, and we want people to participate, but to stay safe. And the best way to do that is to participate online or by watching on television.